Hello, Mr. Moon.
Oh, greetings! Any luck removing some more of those demiguise statues?
I actually have some moons for you.
Oh, thank you. The fewer of these statues I see, the better. You keep your eye out for others, and I'll teach you more about Alahomora.
Where should I look for more demiguise statues and moons?
All of my usual haunts, which incidentally have now become quite haunting. Here in the castle, in Hogsmeade, and believe it or not, in some of the surrounding hamlets. Oh, my tormentor is nothing if not thorough. Kept me from all my usual engagements for an eternity now.
I'll keep an eye out for more demiguise statues and see if I can bring you more moons.
You are to be commended for your bravery and valor, especially since they can only be collected at night.
Yes, I told you. You're very clever.
Clever? How offensive. Next.
Fine, a genius. Happy
Possibly.
now?
But I'll allow your limp vocabulary. This disillusionment charm is superb.
Could you remind me how the Daedalian keys work again?
When you spot or hear a flying key, you're to follow it back to its cabinet. Inserting it in the lock is the tricky part. I hope you follow some. If you open a cabinet, I'd love to know what you find, if anything.
Look upon you.
That's it. I'm making good progress with these tokens.
Don't get too cocky simply because you had one victory over Sallow. He never backs down from a fight.
Onai has fascinating stories about growing up in Uganda. Wish she'd teach us how to use wandless magic like we do at Whitewood.
I'd die of embarrassment if my mother taught at Hogwarts. Don't know how Nappy manages.
I enjoyed it the most. But where's Professor Onai?
Students think they're oh so clever. Peasy Skate's the best one ever. Whee!
He said I had a complexion like a hippocampus egg. Fancy saying that? I think it's because I don't speak fluent. Do you think it's possible to spend time with any of the mermaids?
Portraits in the castle don't always have something interesting to say, but many of them do chatter on nonetheless.
I would have thought that watching plants grow could be so interesting.
How wonderful to see you again.
I've completed my assignments, Professor.
Pleased to hear it. Professor Weasley will be too. I'll be sure to let her know how well you're coming along.
Thank you, Professor.
Professor Hecat tells me she taught you Levioso, so you should be ready for a more advanced levitation charm. Wingardium Leviosa requires a bit of concentration and a nice, graceful wand movement. Let's see you try your hand at it. When executed correctly, you should be able to pick up boulders as though they were sprigs of sneezewort. Well done! Feel free to practice. Leviosa, here in the greenhouse. I've set some crates out for you in the next room. You're a natural.
Professor Garlick, a moment of your time?
The plants are resting, so now's as good a time as any.
I was wondering, what made you want to teach herbology?
How lovely of you to ask. I've always had an affinity for greenery, so this situation is a bit of a dream come true. After graduation, I was thrilled to be asked to step in for my old herbology professor. He'd had a slight accident, you see.
Oh dear. A shame for him, but it worked out well for you.
Well, he never cared, really cared for the plants, and they could sense it. Oh, you'd be surprised how perceptive a plant can be. At any rate, the trouble began one day when he cut into a wigan tree. Unfortunately for him, its leaves were hiding a bowtruckle. You may recall the marvellous creatures that resemble a twig. The little beast gouged the professor's eyes quite fiercely, but terrifying, I'd imagine. Likely for the professor, too.
And that's when you took over as the herbology professor?
Well, not quite. After 3 weeks at St. Mungo's, my predecessor regained a tiny bit of his eyesight. He insisted on returning to the greenhouse. Within a week, he claims by accident, kicked a Chinese chomping cabbage, so it was back to St. Mungo's for him.
What a string of bad luck.
Well, I felt awful for him, but I dare say I felt a bit more sympathy for the cabbage. Upon his discharge from the hospital, his indifference to plants had turned to utter disdain. He lost what little patience he had left with a particularly temperamental venomous tentacula and, well, his resulting leave of absence continues to this day.
I had no idea. How awful.
Last I heard, he'd gone to Romania. As rumour would have it, he developed a sudden interest in dragons. One can only hope he found more happiness working with them than he did with Flora. Lovely speaking with you. Have a wonderful day. Oh, and remember, be kind to your wigan trees.
didn't see ahead of time how bored I'd be in divination class.
Onai is so knowledgeable.
What do we have here? A demiguise.
I hope those assignments were challenging enough for you.
I've completed all of my tasks, Professor Onai.
Very well done. Although I must admit, I did have something of a premonition that you would follow through. Now, as you have no doubt sharpened your perception by completing my assignment, I am curious, based upon the knowledge that one's present and even one's past may reveal traces of what is to come. What do you see in your own future?
I can't get rid of this feeling of a coming danger.
I see. Know that such omens are not damning if they can at least prepare us. And you are preparing yourself, even now. But this talk of tomorrow should not divert us from your present success. I shall inform our good deputy headmistress of your exemplary performance. And if that performance is any omen of what your future may hold, then I, for one, see great things. Channel your magic towards your target. You have it! Now, why not practice the new spell on the training dummy? Excellent. I think you have it.
Professor, do you have a moment?
I do?
I was wondering how you decided to teach divination.
Ah, the art of divination is an important yet often misunderstood branch of magic. Those of us who possess the sight are rare. And, as is often the case with the unique among us, we can frequently be misread, even feared. When I was granted the opportunity to teach others about my gift and the good it can do, I was most grateful.
I see. Natty told me that you and she moved here from Uganda, where she had attended Wagadu.
Yes, Natsai and I both loved Uganda and Wagadu, but we are happily settled here now. I had foreseen such a change, but did not know the details until it occurred. I was glad of the outcome. You would be wise to remember that the consequences of our actions are complex. And so, divining what is to come is not as simple as gazing into a crystal ball or studying the bottom of a teacup.
I find it truly intriguing, even if I don't fully understand it.
Intriguing. That is one word for it. And I'm certain you will come to understand many things more deeply in the days ahead. You are a student at Hogwarts, after all. It cannot have escaped you that we in the Wizarding world are forever navigating the seemingly inexplicable.
Of course, Professor.
Now, I know that we both have places to be. Not because I have the sight, mind you, but because I am a professor and you are a student. I have enjoyed our conversation.